I got Lee Steinberg for next week.
Yep.
So we're all set with him. He should be good. He's kind of dry, but he's very bright.
Yeah.
He's very kind of
We
slow.
just asked him a lot of questions.
But yeah, he's good business. He'd be good. Now for this show, he'd be perfect because you can talk about contracts.
He was on once before.
Was he with us before?
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got in touch with him and
Okay.
came on.
Yeah.
Because I asked him how accurate the Jerry Maguire thing was.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That's right. That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
When right after he came out of his rehab.
Yeah.
He went through some.
Yeah.
Talk about a guy who went to the bottom.
Exactly. You ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. Let me get your headset.
Oh yeah, that would help.
All right, here we go. Welcome to Sports Econ 101. You know our show. It's where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Bruce McGowan, longtime radio sports personality. Today's show is going to be really special because we're expecting two guests, aren't we?
We are. We're going to talk with former NBA star Jason Richardson, who was an outstanding player for 15 years, 14 years in the NBA, and also a guy who's a personal friend of mine, Edward, who has been covering sports in the Bay Area for 50 years. He's been a sports writer nationally syndicated for about that period of time. Art Spander will join us, and he just covered the College National Championship game. So we'll talk a little bit about that, about the Warriors and what's going on in the NBA and so on.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear his take on it. It was a very exciting football game.
I was at a basketball game, so I'm keeping up with it on the internet and watching the highlights on ESPN.com. It was a lot of fun.
And did they show it at the basketball game? Sometimes they'll show
they did once in a while, but basketball fans I don't think are big college football fans. And also, I hate to say this, out here in Northern California, how many people were really interested in Alabama versus Clemson?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's still, if you're a sports fan, it's a big deal.
Sure. If the Cal Bears were in it, then they probably
would
have shown
of course,
something.
yeah. We are a regional, just like everybody else. We have our regional following teams that we follow, I should say.
And it'll be fun to talk to Jay Richardson, as we call him, Jason Richardson about
Jay Rich.
Jay Rich. Okay.
There you go.
It'll be fun to talk to him and see about what he thinks about the current team. And, how excited he would have been to
play this team. Well, he's been out here a couple times to visit, so he's seen him in person, so he knows some of these guys.
Then we'll also get into the fact that the 49ers have a new coach.
That's right. That's a big story. Nationally, there are a lot of new coaches, but I think that Chip Kelly coming to San Francisco is an interesting move.
And the Rams moving back to L.A. We'll talk about what the Raiders and Chargers choices are.
There you go.
All right. So at each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. And this sports team is sports movie trivia. It'll be kind of fun. And we're going to give away some prizes for the first email with the correct answer. And this segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, providing mortgage investments currently yielding over 8% secured by Bay Area real estate. It doesn't get any more conservative than that. Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, and we're going to be right back. All right.
Should we, hang on a second. Let me shoot Jay a quick thing here. Okay. Let's see if we can do this. Okay. That'll be get him on right away. Jason Richardson.
Did I invite you to our little shindig on the 20th, Wednesday?
I don't know.
Exactly a week from yesterday.
Oh, okay.
It's at Piatti's.
Oh, that sounds like fun, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to go into the Pacific Private Money stuff. Kind of, hear what we have to say. Kind of introduce you to some of the guys.
Okay, yeah.
We're expecting 100 people.
Why don't you, can you just remind me? And I'll make an effort.
Email?
Yeah, send me an email. That's a week from...
Yesterday.
Okay, next week. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Love to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good food.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. When I say it won't be a problem, it's just that I'm always so, with the family. You know the deal. But Colette's pretty cool. I do my one Warrior game a week. When the Giants are home, I do usually 2 a week.
You can bring it with you if you want.
I don't know. She's very low key. She'd like to kind of. No, but I'd love to. I think that would be fun. Thank you very much for thinking of me.
Just have here Wednesday, January 20th, 7 p.m. at Piatti's. Edward putting on an event.
Nice.
That'll make sense to you.
Yeah.
And you know where Piatti's is.
I do. I've been there. It's.
Right in Mill Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Before the Stinson Beach section.
Yeah. My sister knows a lot about that place.
Good food.
Yeah, she.
We had a great menu last night, Joe.
I'm trying to think if she. I don't think she worked there, but. Wait a second. Is it? What's the place downtown? Right in the square.
No, that's downtown.
That's D'Angelo's.
That's D'Angelo's.
D'Angelo's.
Yeah, this is right off the freeway near the Ferrari dealership. There's like a big office
Oh, yeah.
building.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do know where that is, yeah. It's been so long since I've been there. It's been a long time.
They remodeled it.
Oh, did they?
Some years back. And the food got really good.
All right, so I sent Jay Rich a text. Hopefully he'll get it.
Try Art?
Yeah, let's do with Art. Let's go with Art.
Let's see if we can just get him on the phone. I'm going to call him at home.
Yeah. I told him. Hopefully he's there. It's funny, Marty Lurie called me today. Am I supposed to be on your show today?
Sometimes.
Well, Marty's in his 70s too, you know. Yeah, we get a little daft as we get older. I'm starting to get that way. I'm only 63. Yeah.
Weren't we going to try to get Monty Irvin on?
Yeah, you know, Monty Irvin his mind was still sharp right up to the end. Yeah. Real sweet guy.
The person you have dialed can't take your call now.
Try his cell. Yeah, and then we may have to wait for him to get home. I think he's picking up his grandkids or something. He's got a real sweet daughter. She's got to be, God, she's in her 30s, late 30s now. Yeah, he's just got one kid, like me, but real nice and nice wife.
So he was kind of late in life too when he.
You know, I'm not sure. Maybe you're right. He could be. I don't think Art is quite 80, but he's close to it. I mean, he came up here in '65. Like I said, that's 50 years ago. Yeah. So he was probably in his. Well, leave him a message. Yeah. Not a big deal.
Art, it is Edward Brown and Bruce McGowan trying to see what time works for you to do our interview on Sports Econ 101. Bruce, you want me to have him just call yourself?
Yeah, Art, just give me a call on my cell when you're ready to go. We're also trying to get Jason Richardson on. He's going to come on with us, but we haven't been able to reach him. So call me on the cell, which is 415-497-9756. Again, that's 415-497-9756. Don't call this number back. Call my cell. Okay? Thanks. All right. Bye-bye. Yes, indeed.
I'm going to send you something here that I think might interest you.
Okay.
I don't know if I told you because I know how you somewhat feel about guns, right?
I'm not a big gun fan at all. I mean, I used to go out and target practice. I'm not into it.
No, then you're really going to appreciate this because I don't know if I told you that I was an expert witness for expert consultant on the largest judgment against a gun manufacturer.
Wow.
And it's $50 million judgment, and I was hired as the expert to look at the financial statements and tax returns because the guy was trying to hide money and all that stuff.
Boy.
And so a guy just wrote a book.
Oh, interesting.
On this whole thing. I don't know if he mentioned me, but
I'm not anti-gun per se. I think hunters are fine. People keeping a gun in your house for protection, that's fine. But I just don't understand this. You know, I have a friend of mine who has an arsenal in his home. I mean, okay, there's Jason.
Okay.
That's fine. I can call in now. Okay, great.
Okay.
Jason is ready to go.
Okay.
So
is he going to call us?
Well, I'll call him because he doesn't have my number. Hang on a second.
He texted you, so he does.
Well, he's got my number. But he's doing the texting thing, which is,
Yeah.
Jason. So why don't you call him? Call his number. Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
the-
My brain is not working. This whole thing with my wife has just got me out of. Today I had a meeting with a guy, and I know this guy. He's like one of our top salesmen, and he says, "Bruce, you're meeting with me, Mike." I said, "Right, you're Mike. Hello." You know.
Hello?
Jason?
Yeah.
Hi, it's Edward Brown and Bruce McGowan.
Hey, J. Rich, how you doing, man?
Good, how you doing?
Good, good. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
And we'll talk. Where do you live, by the way? Are you in Colorado? Because I see a 303 there.
Yeah, I'm in Denver, yep.
Nice, nice. What part of Denver do you live in?
In Hilltop area, which is right next to like the Cherry Creek Mall.
Oh shoot, I went to the University of Denver.
Okay.
Yeah, back in the early 70s. I'm a bit older than you, but back in the early 70s. I really liked Denver. It's a nice town.
Yeah, it is. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, let's just get right into this, and we'll talk about your career in the NBA, and Edward and I will just bounce it back and forth. It's very informal.
Okay.
So we'll have fun.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. So stay with us. We're going to start this right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan, my co-host. Bruce, we have Jason Richardson on the phone.
We do indeed, and I really feel like Jason Richardson is such a young guy, but he's a young veteran of life now, because back in 2000, when I was working at radio station KNBR, I went out to the Warriors facility, and they brought out their class of 2000, which was Jason Richardson, Troy Murphy, and of course Gilbert Arenas, three outstanding players. And Jason joins us now, and Jason lives in Denver, but you're from Michigan, Jason. We gotta talk to you first before we get into the here and the now about growing up in Michigan. And I would assume you probably watched a lot of Magic Johnson, but I would also think that the Bad Boys, the Detroit teams of the early 90s, was probably the team that you watched the closest. Am I wrong?
Yeah, because I didn't like it growing up.
You
No,
did?
you didn't.
You
Who
did?
would you root for?
One of the handful of kids that wasn't really a big Bad Boys fan. Of course, was kids were Michael Jordan fans at the time, and my favorite player growing up was Dominique Wilkins. I was a Atlanta Hawks.
Oh my! Well, I'm going to say Dominique Wilkins, and you kind of followed in his footsteps by winning the slam dunk competition. Dominique Wilkins, of course, was a great leaper, and he was a prolific dunker, and also very artistic. Is that somebody kind of you patterned your style after?
Oh, of course, yeah. Every time I was a kid, everything he did, I would go out to the park or in my backyard, dribbling a basketball, imitate his dunks, doing windmills and 360 as a kid. That was my favorite player, and I wanted to be like him.
You know, when you played too, we forget about this sometimes because the time went by so fast, but you played for 14 years, half of that time with the Warriors, and then you moved around a little bit, but I'm looking at some of the guys that were involved in trades that you were traded for. You know, Boris Diaw, Hedo Turkoglu, Vince Carter, Dwight Howard. So you always were a piece that players, or teams I should say, were looking for. Did that, even though you were moving around a lot, Jason, after you left Golden State, did that kind of make you feel good that you knew that your value was always still considered very high among the league front office people?
Yeah, I felt that way. You felt moved a lot. It felt good that other teams wanted to, and especially teams like Phoenix Suns and Orlando Magic. Those were teams that were just away at the time on winning championships. So when I was going to those teams, it was nice to know that the teams really felt highly about me, that I could be the best for them to help win a championship.
Well, you're only 36. Why don't you put your uniform back on? Isn't Baron Davis trying to make a comeback? Oh, sorry about that.
But you're 35, but and I'm watching the Warriors every night, and I'm watching Draymond Green, who's only 24, 25, and he's paying a price for all this hard work. You know how much hard work it is. It's not like the NFL where you're smashing into people, but it's that sport takes a toll on you, doesn't it?
It definitely takes a toll, especially in a high impact athlete, running, jumping. Your knees only go hold up for so long, but you want that. I mean, you're doing everything since you were a kid. You played in high school, play a lot of AAU ball. You go to college, you have a long season. At Michigan State, we went to the Final Four my second year, won it my freshman year. You come into the NBA where everybody's at 82 games. It's really nice because you got to add 8 preseason games. And well, at the beginning of my career, I didn't make it to the playoffs much, but you make it to the playoffs. You almost add a lot of games to that. So it's just definitely a marathon, a track sprint, and it's just really tough. It's a toll on your body.
I'm trying to remember, Jason. Did you ever have any serious injuries in the NBA?
I didn't have serious injuries until later on in my career. I had the normal ankle sprains here and there, but not until 2011 when I was playing with Orlando. I came off 13 surgery, pretty much knee surgery that kind of ended my career.
I got to tell you something, Edward. Dealing with Jason was a joy because during the time he played with the Warriors, most of that time the team was really struggling. They had some good players, but coaches were coming and going, general managers were coming and going. The Warriors were winning, a fair number of games at home, but most of the time they were in the lower depths of the league. And Jason was always available and always gregarious. And I know that had to be a difficult time, even though you were a young player making good money, getting recognition. But the bottom line is you want to win, and you guys weren't doing a lot of that. How tough was that, Jason, early in your career?
Yeah, it was very tough. I think especially my first year there, all the way into the All-Star game, I was like, I don't know how much longer I could do it. Especially coming from Michigan State, winning championship, going to the Final Four, everything is about winning. And I think after I went to the All-Star game, being around some veteran guys, particularly seeing some turnaround. The fans started coming out more. They was excited about me, Gilbert Gray, changed the culture around. And you got that sense from the fans, like they really want the team to turn around. They really want winners. And so just our effort we gave on the floor, most nights we didn't win the games, but they really applaud us playing hard. And that stuck with me ever since then. Go out there and give it your all. The fans are really loyal. They go back, they will come and show you support, and they know sooner or later this thing will turn around.
Well, I remember, watching you play, and I got to say, it was very similar to watching Steph, where when Jason touched the ball, you were ready for the three-pointer. I mean, just as a fan, that's what we always, we're really, it's like getting that real excitement, just waiting for you, it was awesome.
It was not quite like
Yeah.
Nobody's quite like him.
That's okay.
Yeah. But,
54 steps behind.
yeah. But by the way, we're going to jump to the here and the now for a little bit. What do you make of the Warriors? I mean, I watched a lot of basketball, Jason, because I'm a lot older than you, and I started watching the NBA back in the 60s, and was lucky enough my first year in the media to cover the Warriors when they won the championship. That was my first ever experience. Rick Barry and George Johnson and Clifford Ray and all those guys. But
by the way, Jason, that's when the ball was square. It's a long time ago.
It was a while back. It doesn't seem that long ago. But what do you make of what the Warriors are doing this year? I mean, you played on some good teams. You mentioned, a great team of your freshman year at Michigan State, and very good teams after that. I mean, this is definitely not like what we've seen very often.
No, it's not. It is actually fun basketball. So I think related to Golden State Warriors, one of the teams where they were scoring a lot of points. But the Golden State team, they also play defense, so it makes it even more exciting to see those guys go out there and score points. But they need to stop, they get a stop. And it's just fun basketball to watch the way they share the ball. They play freely, they play with confidence. And the most important thing is for them to win the game. They don't care who's scoring, even though everybody knows Steph is the man. He goes out there every night and just play. He don't mind if Clay is the man that night, or Draymond the man, or Andre's the man. They just want to win games. When you have that, when everybody's on the same team, you have many years of wins, many years of winning championships. Everybody wants the same common goal, and that's to win the championship.
So how do you feel internally? The fact that you're not playing on this team, but you played on a team. Wasn't Stephen Jackson on that team?
Well, I want to talk to him about that team, but I think what Edward's asking you, Jason, is when you look at this Warrior team, you sometimes say to yourself, "Man, what a fun team this would have been."
Yeah. How come I couldn't play in this time?
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I wish I was about 5 or 6 years younger than I am right now. I go to state. But as a fan of basketball, watching it is amazing. And for me, being an ex-Warrior, wanting that for the franchise, wanting that for the fans, I couldn't be more happier than seeing those guys go out there winning for the fans. The fans are getting every moment that they deserve because they've been so loyal for so many years of losing.
I appreciate that.
Their time to win it, and they finally going out there and having fun and being proud to be a Golden State Warrior fan.
See, I appreciate that. You're a good guy. You sure you're not in PR? I mean, look at you use on that. All right, tell you what, Jason, stay with us if you would. We have to cut to a quick commercial break here. Now, I'm going to ask a sports trivia question. The theme is sports movie trivia.
Oh, I love that stuff.
Okay,
Yeah,
now if you know the answer, don't say it yet. We'll let you
Yeah.
answer when we come back. All right?
Let Jason have a shot at it here.
We will, but this is before his time.
Okay.
This was filmed during your time.
During my time, which is back in the Dark Ages.
In the movie Pride of the Yankees.
Yeah. Well, that's
before your time.
That's my dad's time. That's Jason's granddad's time.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay. In the movie Pride of the Yankees, Gary Cooper played Lou Gehrig.
Right.
All right. Who played Sam Blake, the sports writer who persuades a scout to watch him play?
Wow.
Okay.
Well, that's a good question.
All right. Now.
Okay.
And I will. Okay. I won't give you a hint yet.
Yeah.
But first, email edward@sportsecon101.com the answer to that question, and don't touch that dial because when we come back, we're going to stay on the phone with Jason Richardson, and you're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial.
And Jason, we'll just keep you for one more segment.
Yeah.
So thanks
Okay.
again. How's the weather back in Denver today?
It was a little cold. It was pretty cold the last week, but we've been getting up to 60 degrees the last couple of days.
You're not getting. We're not getting these heavy storms. But we're getting these little bursts of rain off and on, and it's going to continue all week. We're finally getting out of the drought, that we had out here. So it's like really gloomy. I'm bummed because I can't go surfing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I love the last 2 years, Jason. The water warmed up. The air was real calm. Every day it seemed like it was sunny and mild, and so the surfing was great. And that's my activity, and I can't do it right now because you can go out, but it's kind of the waves are sort of jumbled up, and the wind is blowing. It's cold, and my wife told me to go out the other day, and I went out, and the waves were just huge, and I just thought, I saw some young guys out there, and I said, I'm not going to get
Of course, she's got a large life insurance policy on them, so she does.
I didn't want to get my ass kicked.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. I didn't want to get my ass kicked, so,
Yeah, my son just got back from skiing in Utah, so it's very similar to 28 degrees.
You got to put up with that weather. So anyway,
All right.
I'm glad you're not out in a blizzard or something back there.
Really. Okay, ready? Here we go.
Okay.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Here was our first trivia question.
And don't forget Jason Richardson.
Don't forget. Of course, no, I was going to reintroduce him again.
There you go.
All right, so here's our first trivia question. The theme was sports movies.
Right.
In the movie Pride of the Yankees, Gary Cooper played Lou Gehrig. Who played Sam Blake, the sports writer who persuades a scout to watch him play?
I haven't a clue, and I bet Jason doesn't have a clue either.
Okay, so if I do the voice, maybe you get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Walter Brennan.
Walter
That's
Brennan.
right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
there you
See, I
go.
only had to,
Yeah.
one, you're like, name that tune.
Yeah.
One little note, and you got it right away.
See, Jason wouldn't remember this, but Walter Brennan was still popular when I was a kid with the real McCoys.
The real McCoy, sure.
Yeah, he was still around. He was quite a character, that guy.
Hey, look at
Yeah, he
you.
had a funny voice.
Yeah. You talking like this.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, all right. So anyway, we have Jason Richardson, former Warriors basketball player, and like I said, there's a few Warriors who are kind of injured now, so get your uniform on. They need you.
What? Hey, what about that? I got to ask you about the team of 06-07, the We Believe team. That I wouldn't say came out of nowhere because you were a good team, but you did finish 8th in the conference and played the number 1 seed, the Dallas Mavericks, who were coached by Avery Johnson. But it looked like Don Nelson not only outcoached him, but you guys with Baron Davis and Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes and yourself and Monte Ellis. I mean, what a great story that was. Tell us a little bit about that series and what that was like playing the Mavericks, because they were right in the middle of a great run of right at the top of the league.
Yeah, that was an amazing run, and it was a special moment in my career for the fans. We're going 13 years of losing, that team came together in a short amount of time. A lot of people don't realize that team was basically created right around All-Star break when they made the trade between Jackson and Al Harrington. And I can remember, we going out there, we was playing, and we played maybe our third game was in Detroit, and we just go out there and we just blew Detroit out. And that plane ride, we all looked at each other like, hey, got like 26 games left, we need to win. I think 22 or 23 of them. Let's make history. And everybody was like, we're going to do it. I can remember that moment on the plane that just changed everything around. And so we went out there, we made history, and it was amazing. Those guys are my brothers, always will be brothers. And I would never forget that year.
So how do you do that? Excuse me, where some teammate, some new guys get traded to the team, and how quickly can you embrace them? You know what I mean?
Well, we all were similar, as in the fact where Steve and Al, their whole reputation was the Navy and Auburn Hill, the brawl in the stands. They had a bad reputation.
You're talking about Steven Jackson now, right?
Yeah, Stephen Jackson.
Yeah.
Our reputation was I couldn't dribble, and I'm a streaky shooter. Their reputation was he was hurt. Matt Barnes was just a journeyman. Monte was out to prove something. We all had chips on our shoulders, so we came together and we knew we all could play because we knew it was for the summertime plan. So at UCLA and picked up games. We knew we had to put our personal egos to the side and do better to win games, and then everything else would be forgotten about. And that's what we did. We just put our egos aside, put our individual goals aside, and focus on team things and try to win games and try to do it for the fans. And that would make that team so special. We did it in such a short amount of time.
Well, fortunately, you didn't have to participate in Malice in the Palace.
Right?
And someone got hurt doing that.
Yeah. I got to ask you about playing for Don. Yeah, playing for Don Nelson too. What a character he was. And that was towards the end of his career. He always seemed to know how to get the most from guys, and of course he played the game himself. Was he that easy to deal with? Because I know Chris Webber was a young player and had trouble with him, but he was only 21. You guys were veteran players, so he was always kind of a fun-loving guy and a hardcore nuts and bolts guy. What was he like to play for?
Chris Webber had problems with Carlissimo too.
Well,
so,
yeah.
I think everybody did.
Yeah.
Even his own mother.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what was it like playing for Nelly anyway?
It was great.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the guy that only him could coach that team. Like I said, we was basically a group of outcast guys. We spirited. We wanted to have fun, but at the same time, we wanted to win games. The personality we had, the game, the type of game we played, it just fit everybody. It was just a great system for everybody, and it just worked.
What's it like right now, Jason, being out of the game, watching the game, and you're not that far removed from it. You're only a couple of years out of the game as an active player, but you're still going to games. You still have a lot of contacts with players. You're living in Denver now, which is a good NBA town, by the way, which the Nuggets have had some success, and they have some great fans. How's it been for you, and what have you been doing with yourself?
It's been great. I was just talking to one of my friends yesterday, and I retired in September, and I told him first time I actually watched a full NBA game after being honored at Golden State for their honor was Christmas. And I said, that was the first time I watched basketball since I retired. And I've just been so busy just with my kids, taking them to school every day, going to practice with them, plays. I got my son using the piano contest, the international piano contest last week. I just been so busy with some of the other teams, so almost like I forgot that I actually played.
So you're a family man now. How old are your kids? You got one kid or two?
I have three. I have
Three?
A 8-year-old daughter. Yeah,
Wow.
I have an 8-year-old son and a 6-year-old son.
Wow, those are good times.
Yeah.
Lot of fun. And we should mention, you mentioned that the Warriors honored you. Jason had his number retired by the Warriors, which is a rare honor and a special honor. And I know that that was the fans really. I think they recognized you not only because of your service, but because of the fact that you, as we mentioned, had to go through some tough times with that team, and it must have been nice to see that jersey rise up there.
Yeah, it was fun just to be honored in front of the fans. It really put my whole career in perspective. I already knew that was a career love thing that me and the fans have there, and I could never understood it because I never made it to the All-Star. We only went to the playoffs one time.
Well, no, I'll tell you, as a fan, what it was is you kept your cool. You always had a good disposition. You never heard about anything bad outside of the court on Jason Richardson. So, like Steph Curry, same sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. They respected everything I brought into the court. Every time I stepped on the court, I left everything there.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be traded from there, but I realized later on in the older days when I got traded from there. But I think they really respect how much I played hard, how much I wanted to win, how much I wanted the whole franchise to turn around and be winners. And I think that's why it's a special relationship I have with the fans there.
Well, again, for the people who were involved in the trade that you were involved with, I take that as a huge compliment.
Yeah, we mentioned some of the names. Vince Carter and Dwight Howard and Boris Diaw were all involved in trade. So you were always valued, even after you left Golden State, even though you moved around. And as we talked about earlier, circling back to that, that kind of kept you going, I would think. You always put up good numbers, but that also had to help keep you encouraged when maybe things were you're wondering, geez, where am I going next?
Yeah, it definitely kept me encouraged knowing that, people really respect me, how I carry myself as a professional, how I play as a basketball player. It was very, like I say, to get traded with some of the bigger names, guys that have made all-star, guys that played in the NBA Finals. That's an honor in itself. So it's definitely been a great journey, and I can sit back and say I'm proud of everything I accomplished. Everything I didn't accomplish, it wasn't meant to be.
So when you got traded, the first time, how did it feel for you to get traded to a team, wondering, okay, how are they receiving me, or what is their expectations? Because I'm being traded with all these other big names.
The first time I got traded was for a rookie. I was drafted.
Oh boy.
Player to be named later type thing.
and to be honest with you, I was highly upset. Chris Mullin called me and just said, hey, we had to make a trade, and we trade you to Charlotte. And to be honest with you, it wasn't a nice word said to Chris Mullin. I later apologized, but that just shows my emotion in me wanting to stay in Golden State, wanted to be there when they turned things around. I was highly upset. Basically, we finally started winning, and I go right back to a losing team, starting from the ground up. But now I'm going to another team. Michael Jordan was there. They had Ray Felton. They had Daryl Wallace. Sean May was kind of hurt a little bit. Michael Okafor. It was a great young team. Just needed some guidance, and I was still a young player at the time. But I knew I could go out there and be who I am and be the player I know I could be. I was going to be all right.
Who do you watch today now? Do you have any as a fan, because I always say basketball players who play the game not only know the game better than anybody else, but they're usually the biggest fans of the game. Who do you like to watch today, besides Steph Curry, of course, and Klay Thompson?
I've on the game in a long time. I just been away from it so long, just busy with my kids. My kids are playing sports. My son's in the basketball. My daughter, she's getting recruited by one school. She got some scholarship offers from mid-major schools. I've been working, my daughter, I've been working my son. I was having fun with them at their practices. By the time I get home, I am tired. So with basketball, I will go and box work out every now and then, but I always Draymond Green because Michigan State and he's from my hometown. He's like my little brother. I'll always get the box where he's going. And he's been playing at an amazing place, and I'm just excited for him and what he's accomplished so far and what he's doing this year.
How often do you talk to him?
We don't get to talk much. I know a basketball player just pick at the phone like, so I kind of leave him alone. That here and there, he was fine, weeks later, but it's just great what he's doing right now and how he's playing and how he's come from, nobody expected him to play at Michigan State to, playing at Michigan State, going to the Final Four, nobody expected him getting drafted, and now he's looking like he's going to start in the All-Star game. It's an amazing journey for him.
I was going to say, for those fans that follow the NBA, you probably know this already, but many don't. Draymond Green is really not only the spiritual leader of that team, but he's kind of what Reggie Jackson would say, the straw that stirs the drink. He truly is.
Hey guys, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break, and then we'll say goodbye to Jason. Okay. In the movie Jerry Maguire, what team did Cuba Gooding Jr. play for and make the touchdown that appeared to give him a serious injury, only to have him dance in celebration?
Oh, there you go.
That's an easy one. Okay, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101.
All right. Jason, hey, thanks, man.
Thank you so much, Jason.
That was great.
No problem.
Yeah.
And I'll keep in touch, and we'll do it again sometime. All right, buddy. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, let me call Art here, because he's calling me. Hey, Bruce, just making sure everything went smoothly with Dre Rich. Yes, it did. That's
He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He is. Let me do this real fast. Since
I wonder when he's coaching the kids, it's like he's not the only coach. He's probably like helping them out. I wonder how does the it sounds like he's not like the coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Like an assistant coach or something.
It says he has a daughter getting ready to be recruited by Division I. I mean, she's got to be 17.
Yeah.
Jason's 30. He must have gotten hooked up when he was just in high school, practically. Well,
Smart enough to ride the scooter today.
Yeah, you were. Definitely were.
The weatherman was correct.
Yeah. We got one more segment to do. One more long one.
One more long one. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about the football game.
Yeah, it talks about I think the NFL with this, especially with the move, the Rams, and he'll have some interesting things to say about that because he is an LA native. He went to UCLA, so he grew up a Rams fan back in way back in the 50s.
Oh wow!
Yeah, when Bob Waterfield was there, and this
Norm Van Brocklin.
Norm Van Brocklin, yeah.
I used to love reading stories about Norm Van Brocklin.
Yeah, he was a character. My first game I ever really watched, was the 1960 NFL Championship game. That was his last game, and he beat the Packers. The Packers were just starting to become a great team. Yeah.
When did Lombardi take over?
59. They didn't win in 59, but if they had playoffs in those days, they would have been in playoffs. There were just two conference title winners. They had a 12-game season, and they played in the NFL Championship. It was 12 games, and then the championship. There were, I think, 6 teams in each conference in those days. So up until 1960, then the AFL comes along and has 8 teams, and the NFL starts to expand. They went from 8 to 10 in 1960. They added the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Vikings came along in 61, Cowboys in 60. So that's when everything started changing.
Well, the Raiders came in
60 with the AFL, but the AFL started separately. They challenged. The AFL, they were only, really the first couple of years, the only teams that really did very well at the gate were Houston
Oilers,
and they won the first, in San Diego. Actually, the LA Chargers were in the championship game, I believe, the first year, and the San Diego Chargers were in the fourth year, 1963. They moved from LA to San Diego in 61.
Was John Hadel? He was after that.
He was after that. Jack Kemp was their first, the former senator. Yeah, Hadel came along in the late 60s.
I was like, because Kemp came from Cal, didn't he?
No.
I'm thinking of.
You're thinking of.
Played for Minnesota.
You're thinking of Joe Kapp.
Joe Kapp.
Yeah. Who had a pretty nice little career. He said, I'd love to get Joe on, but his hearing is shot. He's very sharp, though, and he's a real character.
Especially when he's not fighting on stage with what's that big guy? I don't know who that was.
I heard about that.
You can see it on YouTube. Guy's like, he's got to be 400 pounds.
Joe is a feisty guy. He was not a great coach when he got to Cal. He had 2 good years. His first year, that was it. His last year, they fired him before the big game, and they went out. They were so emotional. They went out and they won that game. And let's give Art a call and carried him off the field.
Wow. Is it one that's calling home?
Yeah, that was not him. That was Massimo. But we'll try. Let's try both numbers again. We'll get Art. If we don't get him, we can fill.
Okay.
It's not a big deal.
So Massimo was asking how the J was.
Yeah. He's like I said, great kid. He's got a great future.
Great. You could probably get some other people too.
Oh yeah. We could probably get some other Warriors. There we go.
Art.
Yeah.
Edward Brown and Bruce McGowan. How are you?
Hey, Art. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. You ready to do a segment with us?
Yeah.
All right.
We can talk a little national championship, but I think also the NFL with the 49ers move today and the Raiders also, and St. Louis Rams because you're a former LA person, so we can talk about that too. Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go.
Is yours cutting in now?
A little bit, but it's okay. I can manage.
Okay. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. When we cut to the segment break, we asked this trivia question. In the movie Jerry Maguire, what team did Cuba Gooding Jr. play for and make the touchdown that appeared to give him a serious injury, only to have him dance in celebration?
That's an easy one. Arizona Cardinals.
That's right.
Who were not very good at the time.
Yeah, but who was it against? Come on.
I don't know.
The Cowboys.
The Cowboys.
Yes.
Okay, it had to be the Cowboys.
Okay, so Bruce, who's on the phone with us now?
We got a legendary sports writer who has been around forever and has covered the Bay Area forever, and I mean that in a very, very laudatory way, and that's my friend Art Spander, who is from, by the way, I should say he's a California guy all the way from Los Angeles, moved up here in, I believe, about 1965, and Art just got back from covering the national championship game, and Art, we got to ask you about that game because
game to watch.
Wow, Clemson. I was at a Warrior game, so I'm keeping up with it on the internet. I mean, that was just it was like watching arena football. But the fans must have loved it. Clemson and Alabama back and forth. What was it like covering that thing?
It was like arena football. I mean, what's great about it? The college bowl games, as you know, have been real flops. Mismatches and one-sided, and the only thing maybe. Oregon's got a
big lead, and it's not Oregon. I'm sorry.
Clemson. Yeah.
Yeah. Oregon had a 31-0 lead and lost to, and that was a decent game because of the comeback.
Yeah.
But Stanford, 11 seconds into the Rose Bowl, that was my 63rd straight Rose Bowl. That's another story. And I'll tout my website, artspander.com, since I'm sort of freelancing and people using me and not using me, and everything ends up on my website, which is a nonprofit organization. Okay. But anyway, as you know, Stanford, 11 seconds into the game, it's 7-0, and that game was a rout, and 21-0 after the quarter. So much of that in the in the bowl games, and then finally the college championship turns into a great football game, back and forth and back and forth. Excuse me. And Nick Saban, who is almost 64, and you wouldn't think he'd pull something like this. He's been around, and a lot of people don't like him. They don't like Alabama because they're so powerful and they win all the time. But he pulls an onside kick after tying the game in the fourth quarter, and basically that's what won for Alabama, turned everything around. So that and long plays and a lot of talent, Clemson and Alabama. I guess now a whole group of the Clemson players have announced that they're going to go to the NFL. But I've written this before, the SEC, and of course Clemson's in the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, with Florida State and schools like that. But the SEC is far and away the best football conference in the country, and I think one of the reasons is, and not indicting these people for education, but that's what they care about. They want to be number one. They have huge stadiums, 100,000. Florida is an enormous stadium, and Alabama is an enormous stadium, and once again, until there were the Atlanta Falcons and the Braves moved down there were no pro sports in the Southeast. We used to say there were two things down there, football and spring football.
That's right. That's certainly true for Texas. Art Spander joining us. I should mention Art worked for the San Francisco Chronicle, worked for the San Francisco Examiner, the Oakland Tribune, worked for all the local papers, and has been on all the local radio stations. And I want to talk about the NFL here because I know college football is big, but Edward and I have been talking a little bit to Art about the last couple of days. There have been a lot of coaching changes. The 49ers bringing in Chip Kelly was kind of an interesting move. I thought it was a bold move. It may work out. What's your take on this pick of Chip Kelly?
As Adam Schefter said on ESPN right after, he said he's the anti-Tomsula.
Yeah.
And you know, I have nothing against Jim Tomsula. And he, as an assistant coach, did exactly what he was supposed to do, prepare his players. But a head coach has to be much more. An administrator, a man who inspires people, who gives exciting speeches or angry speeches, who has a personality. And unfortunately, Tomsula did not. And with a team that was not winning, you can get away with that if you're the Super Bowl champion. And in fact, I just read a great column by Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe that in 16 years, Bill Belichick has got this thing down to a science. He mumbles and grumbles and rarely answers anything. But the Patriots are so good, they get away with it. Mm-hmm. And here, okay, the 49ers are so important because, once again, as you mentioned, I moved up from L.A. and it'll be 51 years in May. So I've been here for half century after living in L.A., about 25 years or so. And one thing I think you both know that pro football was so big in the West because the 49ers here and the Rams in L.A. were the only major league teams until the Giants and Dodgers moved west. Yep. And so there was a connection. You wanted to play the New Yorks and the Bostons and Chicago. It was your pro football team. And, of course, the 49ers were actually born here by a local franchise, put together by local people, and everybody had a soft spot in their heart for them. And so I think they're very, very important. Some people right now will tell you that the Warriors have surpassed the 49ers in importance. It could be true, but basketball is a smaller sport. And the Giants have become maybe 1A. But I always thought that the 49ers, whatever they did, were tremendously important. And so they have to present something that appeals to all these people. And Bruce, you guys are up in Marin.
Yeah.
Friends of mine who have season tickets or had them and live in Marin have not, replaced them because too far away.
Yeah, for those who don't know, the traffic going from here to...
You got all this goes into it.
Yeah.
So the 49ers have to have an inspiring, exciting product. And winning, of course, is important. But if they don't win, at least they want to be in every game. And they were with Jim Harbaugh.
You think they'll be that way with Chip Kelly, though? I mean, it's hard to say because we don't know.
Great in Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
and we know what he did at Oregon. So one thing is, I think the team will be very exciting, and two, he may be just the guy. If Colin Kaepernick is healthy and can play, he may be just the coach for him because he loves quarterbacks who can move and run. If you remember from the whole Oregon stuff.
Sure.
So, and they kept trying to get a guy at Philly who could play like that.
Yeah, they never did.
Close.
Well, he got rid of some good players and it pissed a lot of people off, but they had some good teams. Yeah.
Because he started dropping people who were good, LaShawn Jackson and people like that. I don't know how much personnel control he'll have, whether that'll be bulky, but I think, once again, I go back to Belichick. He was at Cleveland, he was a flop. He learned what he did wrong. And I think, and I hope, that 49ers with Balky and with Jed York and, of course, Chip Kelly all have it coming from another team, and those two with the 49ers will all learn what they have done wrong.
Yeah. So hopefully the thing will turn out well. But I got to ask you, let's switch topics here and talk about the move to LA of the St. Louis Rams, which doesn't surprise me because it seems like, Art, you grew up a Rams fan growing up, going to UCLA and then watching Bob Waterfield and Norm Van Brocklin, and you mentioned all the history. So in some respects, even though they've been gone for 20 years, doesn't it make sense also Stan Kroenke, the owner, had this new idea of a stadium, which it seems a lot more plausible than the one in Carson. So it just seemed like a logical move for that team to move to L.A.
Let me just preface this by saying, I don't care what the sport is, I hate seeing franchises move.
Mm-hmm.
Sports, the late Leonard Copper, who you knew, and wrote from his sessions at teaching at Stanford, before that he was a sports writer and sports columnist and editor down at the Peninsula Times-Tribune. But there was a book called Sports Illusion, Sports Reality. The illusion in sports is that it matters. And that's how we grow up thinking our team has to win, whether it's the college team, the pro team. Through that illusion, sports are worth billions and billions of dollars because fans support that sport, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, hockey, soccer, whatever it is, golf, tennis. They go to those games and they buy the paraphernalia, etc. Now, I feel sorry for people in LA and in St. Louis and in Seattle losing the Sonics because it's unfair. Because they're the ones who made those games go, and the players played and the owners owned, but the owner doesn't really care. Kroenke, I don't know what the whole deal was. I know when they moved, I'm jumping around here, in 95, we'll get to the Raiders too. In 95, LA loses two teams. The Rams, who moved there in 46 from Cleveland, and the Raiders, who came down in the 80s from Oakland. All of a sudden, they have two pro football teams, then they have none. If you're a fan, what happens? Hey, that's my team, and it's gone. And that's happening in San Diego now, maybe. And of course, it has happened in St. Louis. But I continued to call them growing up as a kid. I went to Ram games starting in 48, I think it was, 48, 49, as you mentioned. Bob Waterfield, Norm Van Brockman, Crazy Legs Hirsch, Don Paul, V.T. Smith, Cricket Kalmeyer.
Roman Gabriel eventually came on the scene.
Gabriel came along later.
Yeah.
But they were, you grew up as the L.A. Rams.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they're the St. Louis Rams. Okay, now St. Louis is all excited, and now, after they spent 20 years supporting the team or not supporting the team, all of a sudden the team is yanked away from these fans. And I just think it's terrible. But the owners, what they're trying to, they're trying to make money, and a lot of money.
Well, I gotta say, okay, I was a big Raider fan in the 70s, Stabler, Blanda, and all that, Blitnikoff. And then when they moved to LA, it was a real heartache for me. When they came back, it was hard for me to be a fan again.
Yeah, and they had a different fan base.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you can say about college and high school sports. They don't move your team.
They can't move your team. That's right. They might get rid of the program, but it doesn't happen if it's very
I think
successful.
Vanderbilt's going to come out here.
Stanford's going to stay Palo Alto or Stanford as the postmark is. But you have a feeling there. But I mean, even now, the Raiders, I don't know what's going to happen to them. I don't think the Raiders know.
Well, they have a year to decide. Right?
There's 6 possibilities.
They're in limbo for now, Art. That's for sure.
No,
Chargers are too.
The only thing we know is they're going to play football in about 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they got a good team. At least they have a good team. The fans are going to see a team that might be in the playoffs next year.
Well, there should be a good team. And I also, Lindy Schaff and I live in Oakland.
Libby Schaff is the mayor of Oakland, we should mention.
She's the mayor of Oakland, doesn't want to spend public money, and there's also a piece in the Wall Street Journal about all the California cities.
To tell you what, Art, we have to cut to a quick break. Stay with us, and we're going to come back and finish you off. Okay. All right, here's our trivia question. How many and which major characters died in all of the Rocky films?
Wow,
right?
okay.
So,
think
Art
about
don't
that
answer that yet. When we come back, we're gonna see if Art knows the answer to that.
Okay.
How many and which major characters died in all of the Rocky films?
Oh, boy.
Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be right back.
Okay.
All right.
All
So
right.
let me
Hang on just a
save this
second here.
file.
Thanks so much for joining us, by the way. This is great.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Yeah, you got back home okay. No hassles with the flight.
2-day drive. It's
Oh, you drove down. That's kind of fun, though,
This weather?
Yeah.
Even though I went to north of LA to Santa Clarita, stayed there, and
Sure.
it's driving 7-8 hours a day.
Yeah. Were you by yourself?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Art.
I have my XM radio and I listen to Sinatra, 50s rock and roll.
Sweet. Well, you're like the Energizer Bunny. You just keep going and going. That's you're my inspiration, man. If you can keep doing this at your age, there's no reason why I can't, stick around for a few more years too.
Well, it keeps me mentally alert.
Absolutely.
I tell people, they say, and I'm 77. Why don't you retire?
No.
He says, and do what? Sit around Starbucks?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Remember 1963? I watch games, I do things, and I like to go to dinner, and I was a wine writer at one time, and so all these things keep your brain going, I think.
I love
absolutely right. Keeps you young.
I love having you out there, Art. I'm serious when I say that. I have great affection for you, man.
We have just a quick minute. Let's do this. Okay. Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Trivia question: how many and which major characters died in all of the Rocky films? Come on.
I'm going to say 3.
Okay.
The Burgess Meredith character. Apollo Creed.
Apollo Creed.
The third one.
Come on.
No, I don't know. Does Art Spander know? You know that one, Art?
No.
Okay.
Adrian in Rocky 6.
Really?
In Rocky Balboa.
His wife died?
Yeah, they kind of go to the scene where she's already passed on.
I didn't see number 6.
But you got number 3. You got the answer 3.
We got to wrap it up with Art, though,
okay,
first.
we got to wrap it up with Art. So, Art, we have a quick minute. Actually, we got about 45 seconds. You want to wrap it up for us?
What do you think about all these moves, though, to the Los Angeles market?
Who knows? I mean, LA's going to have a football team again, and it was inevitable. The second largest city in the country, and one of the headquarters of television.
Yeah.
As you know, Fox is there. So, and they want to put a Super Bowl, and to have a Super Bowl, you have to have a team. This guy's building this remember when multi-million was expensive? Multi-billion dollar. Just an aside.
Stan Kroenke is his name, by the way.
Congressman F. Dirksen in Illinois, he was the head of the defense spending anyway. He says, well, they're going to have a plane here, $1 billion for that plane, and $1 billion for that. He says, $1 billion here, $1 billion there, and pretty soon you're talking big money.
Big money, exactly.
Yeah.
Art Spander, thank you so much for joining us on Sports Econ 101.
You're welcome.
All right.
Good talking to you, Art. All right.
All right,
He is,
that was fun.
yeah, Art is really something else. A guy who's been doing this for so long, and it's nice to see him out. I have to say it. He's been out there since I've been starting, which was in 1975, and boy, it's nice to see him still
Very
working.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to cut out. Here's our thoughts for the day. Yogi Berra said, if fans don't come out to the ballpark, you can't stop them.
I love that one, yeah.
And Bobby Jones said, competitive golf is played mainly on a 5.5-inch course, the space between your ears.
Good point.
Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective. In fact, I think, who's our guest next week?
Lee Steinberg, super agent, yeah.
Great. We're going to be giving away more free vacations for answering sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. Well, we'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.
All right,
Good
that
show.
was good. Yeah.
Good
Two
show,
guests.
my
I'd
friend.
like to try to get two guests more often.
Yeah, no.
It just makes the show move. I mean, we have more to talk about. You and I can have fun too, but it's
Yeah.
great.
Oh no, it's good. It makes it a lot